the Joel Friday TV crew. And we're off, I do believe. Joel Friday TV live right after Hake, guys. Gonna have some fun music today. Let me just make sure that we are live and going. I do believe it is. It is 9 a.m. here in Los Angeles. Tuesday, April 23rd, AD 2024. And the lines are full, guys. You can call in, but the lines are full right now. 888-77-JESSE. We're on his network, Jesse Lee Peterson's network, as you know. Gonna have another loosey-goosey Tuesday show. It is Steve Taylor Tuesday. Also, it is 238 Tuesday. And I would like to comment on what? Maybe this Palestine-Israel drama stuff. Not that I have much to say about it, really, but, you know, terrible. Shaking my head. Maybe I'll touch on this Simone Biles thing, because I've been meaning to cover it since, like, Friday, you know? And also, I'm really remiss in not getting to the Super Chats. There's some Super Chats, coffees from Friday that I didn't even get to. Terrible. Due to ongoing drama. Ridiculous. But anyway, guys, let's get right on with the show!
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
Hey, guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
So, how you guys doing? I am fine. I'm wearing my, once again, a better, not bitter t-shirt. Better, not bitter. And this one is in the white ink. And you can find yours by going to rebuildingtheman.com/stores. Rebuildingtheman.com/stores to find the various JLP and Bond and the Fallen State related t-shirts, mugs, stickers, as well as Jesse Lee Peterson's books. It's different from the hakereport.creator-spring.com. Yeah, this is a Bond t-shirt. And this is in the white ink. Yesterday I wore the black ink. Cool, huh? I think it is. Nice. And this is, it's not 100% cotton, okay? And it's a medium. I have to be tugging on it. Maybe I should grow into a large. It's horrible. Ridiculous. I've been wanting to get to Steve in New York for a bit of time here. I know that I just started. But Steve in New York is on the line. Thank you for calling, Steve. How you doing, man?
Hey, how you doing? Long time no call.
Nice. doing well.
Listen, the church that I was a part of, the Manhattan Church of Christ in New York City.
Doxed. Yes.
They are now putting a faith, race, gender, and justice program where part of the things that teach is how to raise anti-racist children. And to me, that is the cringiest thing hey, let's teach our children not to be racist.
Yeah.
Like,
you know what? When I was a kid, I learned about this so-called racism stuff and discrimination, and I'm like, who could even relate to judging someone based on race? But in reality, that's not true. People are judged based on how all too many of them act, or how they're brainwashed to think about them.
Exactly. And I'm going to tell you something. When I was like 13 and they started doing these drug classes on drugs, right?
Yeah.
And I was like 13 years old, and I didn't know anything about drugs. I didn't know anything about anything. And this has got to be like 1977. They would teach about these drugs, and what I remember very vividly. They said, "Oh, this drug makes you hallucinate," right?
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, wow, that must be cool." That was my thought in 13 years old.
Wow.
How do I
nice.
hallucinate? How do I hallucinate?
Did you know what hallucinate meant? Had you seen like movies about people having hallucinations?
Yeah, I saw like episodes of I Dream of Jeannie that talked about hallucinations, and and it was I Dream of Jeannie episode. I got this weird memory; I can memorize these things.
Yeah.
But I remember I was like, "Oh wow, what is it like to have a hallucination? Where can I get this?"
Wow.
That's what my mentality. I was 13 years old. Now, I never had a drug problem in my life.
Yep.
Never had an alcohol problem in my life.
Nice.
Because believe it or not, my grandfather, I was raised by my grandparents. My grandfather at 10 years old said, "Okay, you can have beer with your meal."
Nice. That's so funny. I remember being traumatized because I was trained to be against beer, right? And I remember my childhood friend, we were at the county fair, and his dad offered him beer. And my friend's like, "No, Dad, I don't drink beer." And it was just like a beer in a little plastic cup from the fair. And it was like harmless, but I was so traumatized and brainwashed against beer like that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But let's teach our children not to be racist. I mean, if you're going to that class, means that you're not racist or you don't want to be racist.
Do you think that racism is even real? Because who even thinks the way that they're portraying that they think? I'm going to
tell you something. I think teaching about racism. I'm white. I'm Greek and Italian.
That's not normal white, but shout out. No, I'm playing around a little bit. Go ahead.
No, I don't care. I really don't care. It's cool.
Yeah.
I think that teaching about racism is detrimental because when somebody fails, you failed, I failed a million times during my lifetime, your lifetime, same thing.
Yeah.
But I've seen how when certain black people who are indoctrinated with this racist thing, when they fail, they blame it on the white people.
Yeah. And you've seen it on the most ridiculous things. They'll do something wrong, and they'll be like, "Oh, it's because I'm black. I'm the only black one." So silly. Terrible. What a setup. And you know what? Whites will fall into that too, or any know-it-all POC or white. Not any, but many of them will be like, they will be taught about this racism stuff, and they'll repeat it back to you thinking that that's what they're seeing, when in reality they're seeing like a look-alike, and they're trained like Pavlov's dog to react this way and spout off these dumb words when they see you doing something that's actually quite reasonable. They're conditioned, brainwashed.
I remember parking in a parking lot, and I parked in there, and I had enough room to get out of my car, no problem. I went to the Starbucks in the mall. I came out. I'm drinking my whatever, and some black guy, and I'm not, he's talking to his girlfriend, and he's pointing to my car, and he says, "Do you see how they do us?" And I'm like, I'm like wondering. I'm like, he thought I parked too close to him because he was black. When I didn't care. I didn't park too close to him.
Are you sure that's how he meant it?
I don't. But he pointed to my car and he was like, do you see how they do us? And he was like, I barely got any room to come in
Right.
my car.
That's
And
funny.
I'm like, and I'm right in front. I'm right in front of him. I'm the guy. I don't want to say nothing.
Right.
You know. So, and I've seen this over and over again. A guy puts out one resume, one application for a job. He doesn't get it.
Yeah.
Then he goes, "Oh, it's a white thing. They hate it because I'm black." No,
Right.
no. You got to put out 1,000 resumes. You got to put out 1,000 applications. You got to push and push and push till you can't push no more. Don't quit at once.
Right.
It destroys their mentality.
That's true. Man, that's true.
Anyway.
You know, I don't know if you caught the opening segments with Sean, the producer, on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, but you used the word cringy, and men do not cringe, no matter how ridiculous these liberals are, these anti-racist liberals are, even though they're trying to pollute the children's minds. So watch your language, buddy. Did you catch?
I mean, I'm trying to use the vernacular
right
of
the Zoomers,
of the Zoomers.
Yeah, I call them Zoomers. The younger crowd.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine, man. I just.
I'm 61 years old this year, and I think we are in serious trouble with these Zoomers, and oh my goodness, they're no good.
Yeah.
They gotta wake up. They gotta get out the woke and wake up.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I agree, man. Well, hopefully, hopefully we'll set a good example and not a cringy example, so that they might listen and learn.
You got it, buddy. Keep up the good work.
Thank
Keep
you,
the
man.
faith. God bless. And God bless everybody. Right? We love everybody.
Indeed. Take care, Steve, in New York.
Bye.
Bye. Neil in Texas is on the line here. Neil, thank you for calling and holding. Is it NEAL or NIEL, or how do you spell it, out of curiosity?
NEAL.
Okay. Nice. Nice to hear from you. What's up?
Yes, I just had a quick question. I just wanted to see your perspective on this question. My mother died last year, and I've been doing the silent prayer for over 5 years now, probably longer than that. And I've forgiven my parents a while back, and I didn't cry when my mother died. And some people think that's weird.
How'd they find out that you didn't cry when your mother died?
Well, it was actually a close personal. My husband, actually.
Oh, okay.
He thinks it's strange that I didn't cry.
Right. Does he find you cold in general?
He's kind of following through with all the steps as well, and he didn't think it was cold. He was just a little shocked.
Oh, okay.
He thought maybe it was. He didn't. I guess he didn't understand how you could get to that point.
Yeah, I know some older men whom I've heard talk about this type of thing, who said that they didn't cry when their mother died, but they did cry or hurt when their father died. And oftentimes it's kind of the other way around, because with the people who are lost in their emotions, you know.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily.
I don't either. I just I was wanting to ask Jesse, but I missed his show by a few minutes. But I've called into your show one time before, so I just went ahead and threw the question out there for you to respond to.
Well, thanks for calling
But I don't
again.
think it's weird either. Yeah, and the father part, he died 2 years before my mother, and yeah, I did cry for him, but it wasn't an ongoing, agonizing, emotional thing. It was just kind of a natural. Then it just was put to bed, should I say?
Yeah.
And then everything was fine.
Nice.
So.
I
appreciate you.
Did you like your mother?
I realized she was evil. I actually stumbled across Jessie after I had started to wake up and realized that I had anger towards my parents. And she was the typical mother in the sense that everything was the father's fault.
Yeah.
And she was the victim. But once I was awakened to that, it was crystal clear. It's kind of shocking how easily it is to fix the situation, but it's also a very clever deception that Satan projects on us.
Yeah. It's sort of why you can see why people think that whites are the problem in society and the racist ones in society, because people are so backwards too with the father and mother situation and good and evil.
Absolutely.
Everything gets turned around. Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
Back to the basics.
Yeah. Well, great call.
Well, thank you, Hank.
Yeah, thank you. Good to hear from you again. Take care.
Thanks.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So speaking of the phonies, and then I will get back to calls. I'll try to plow through this fast. Speaking of the phonies, there's a bunch of phonies in the college. Do you go to college? Shout out to the college people. I went to college. Protesting, they're doing encampments. In other words, they're being kind of like homeless bums. They remind me of at colleges like Columbia University. And I haven't seen much footage, but just based on the reports that I hear from the far left females at the Skim and Commie Nonsense Network, CNN, these morning updates from these liberal outlets that I get my news from, which I get my news. They're doing encampments and doing days on end protests at universities, pushing universities to divest. What is that thing? Divestment, something, and sanctions. Something S. Whatever that thing is. You guys remember? Divestment, something, boycotts and sanctions, DBS. Divestment, boycott, sanction, Israel. This type of stuff you hear, I think I heard, was it on American Anchor, baby? That they shut down, or was it on Jesse Lee Peterson's show last week? The Jesse Lee Peterson show. These people blocked roads. And by the way, I think a lot of them are Israelis or Jewish people who are against what's happening in Gaza. And they're blocking roads. And some of them are Arabs, of course, or not normal whites or whatever, blocking roads in America over something that's happening over there, inconveniencing us, JLP said. That makes the rebellious spirit in me want to fund Israel. And I'm kind of indifferent on the matter. I think, no, they can handle it themselves. But it makes me want to fund them. Just to be in your face, throw you in jail, make you do forced community labor, slavery, and forced volunteer work, and the money that you generate goes to Israel. Just to spite them. Blocking the streets for God. I think they blocked the Golden Gate Bridge for 5 hours. And then they're scaring the Jews, which they do scare easily, especially the students, the brainwashed students, the anti-Semitism, all one word, no hyphen. So I don't want to take sides completely. Don't fall for a hate. Stay true to self, says Rich XCVIII, which is 98, something like that. XC means 10 short of 100. C means 100, right? CN. And V is 5. III makes it 8. 98. Nice. But it's just, to me, it reminds me of the Occupy Wall Street suckers. I remember after the Tea Party was on the scene, people called it AstroTurf because big organizations would sort of fund it. But a lot of us boomers, I'm a Gen X, Gen Y, millennial boomer, were supporting the Tea Party. and we supported some Tea Party candidates. Some turned out to be lame. And a lot of those people became Trump supporters, the more genuine of the Tea Party. Conservative, don't like blowing money and all that stuff on whatever. Because we didn't like George W. Bush spending money, and he did. And then Obama spent money even crazier. And went full-blown, even more socialist than we already were. And so they would spit on us, and then they did the Occupy Wall Street. They called the Tea Party racist because it was mostly white. But it was like about the demographics of the country. It had some Asians, it had some blacks, it had some Hispanics in the Tea Party. Oh, the dumb, evil liberal media called it racist. And then they were like, kind of being favorable to the Occupy Wall Street. We are the 99%. Take down the banks. Rioting, breaking windows, basically the precursors to Black Lives Matter Antifa. Taking number twos, you know, going to the bathroom in the park in the open air though, but not in the bathroom, but on the ground. Sick people. Allegedly committing R words, ape raise, Occupy Wall Street. It was a boot camp to teach young people how to be bums. Yeah. We are the 99%. Basically hating the rich. As if it's rich versus poor, rich versus everybody else. They don't realize that they're rich and spoiled too. And that evil possesses them too. Terrible. So that's what it reminds me of when these silly people are protesting and counter-protesting and getting all caught up. And what are they? It's so ridiculous. I see these people who are protesting for Armenia here in this city of LA sometimes or elsewhere. For these different countries, Israel, Palestine, all that stuff, if you want to call that a country, right? Get out of here. I get the America's funding some stuff, but that doesn't even matter. I mean, your actions are not going to have an influence. For the good, anyway. Nice. GREGGATRON is on the line from the Midwest. GREGGATRON, how you doing, man? Good to hear from you.
What up?
Hey.
How you doing?
Doing well. How about you?
My boy, pretty good, pretty good. Man. I'm just running some errands, sorry.
No problem. It's an honor to hear from you, man.
No problem. I got an idea for your little show, man. I think you'll like this one.
Okay.
All right, so check this out. You remember that Bible-thumping flat earth pastor versus the round earth pastor, that little segment they had back and forth?
Yeah.
And then the round earth pastor kicked out the flat earth pastor, right?
Yes.
And he said, "You're a Bible denier. Get out of my church." Turn off his mic, right?
Yeah.
So I think you should use that as a drop or in a clip after you get into it with a Bible-thumping person. What do you think?
I think that's a nice idea because they cherry-pick Bible verses and then accuse me of cherry-picking Bible verses, and they just outright deny the verses that say you don't sin anymore, get rid of anger, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
And, yeah, then like merge that with like Steve Wilkos saying, "Get off my stage, you scumbag." Something like that.
Bible denier.
Yeah,
It sounded so petty.
That was funny.
It sounded so petty coming from these pastors fighting over something dumb.
Who argues over that in church anyway?
I know. I mean, oh no, that's a question, huh? Intellectuals are caught up in their ego. That's who argues about that stuff.
In a church setting, I was thinking, who even cares about that in a church setting, whether the earth is flat or round?
Right.
What kind of mess.
people
It
who
just
are
didn't make
caught up
sense.
in they're missing the inner, arguing about the earth, and then they're calling
was
them
so-
Bible deniers over it.
Yeah, it's so comical that someone has to use that in like a clip or something.
Yeah, it's a great drop, actually. I'll have to
Yeah.
revisit that.
Yeah, just tell Hassan the drop should be, "You're a Bible denier, turn off his mic."
I'll have Hassan do it. Maybe he'll put it in a rap song.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice, man.
But real quick, shout out to William and Joe. Those guys had me rolling last week, man. I think it was Thursday's show. Everything was so nicey nice and calm and peaceful. And then here you come, Hake, just shutting it down.
Because William and Joe were all mutually respecting each other. How's your horses doing?
Handshaking, patting each other on the back, and then that's why I said in my super chat, man, you're an agent of chaos, because it's like it really bothered you. You did not want all that peacefulness on your show. You're like,
Makes me want to spit.
My show is about back and forth stuff.
Two. I want black on black violence.
Yeah.
That's funny, man.
That's what I was thinking. That's funny. But speaking of that, but you've been having a lot of nitpicker calls lately, man. What's going on?
You know what? I think that when you're caught up in the ego, you start to nitpick. I don't know if you've ever done that, but that's what happens with. I've noticed me doing that. I've noticed my callers doing that, and they think that they're being objective, but really they're just defending their ego and attacking another ego, and it's really empty.
Yeah.
I wonder what people are going through who want to just hear some content and commentary and stuff.
I noticed they're nitpicking about weird stuff, like you told the truth on Monday, but you lied on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Or you told the truth last week, but you're lying this week. Like, what are you even talking about? How are you even distinguishing? But the people who criticize the most, they watch your show the most.
Yeah.
So they're the biggest fans, yet they act like they're not the biggest fans. It's crazy.
Haters. Hate will attach you to stuff. It'll keep you thinking about a situation. If you hate a situation, you'll keep on going over it in your head, and it'll plague your mind. And I guess that it plagues them so much that they have to keep on watching Hake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like an addiction almost. And another thing, no one's making y'all watch Hake's show.
Right.
Nobody's holding a gun up to y'all's head and say, "Hey, y'all better watch this, man, because if you don't, I'm going to blow your brains out." No one's saying that. So
No,
I think it's almost like they're a little jealous, like they wish they were sitting in the chair that you're in, and they could push the message that you're pushing just in their own way. What do you think?
That could be, because you see a guy presenting a case, and you project some judgment on him, thinking that he thinks he knows so much or whatever, and you have your own ideas of how you want it said, or something is not being said that bothers you. Like, I wish he would say this, or the topic that he's talking about, or he's not working out enough. He looks so beta. He's an embarrassment to the white race,
Right?
or whatever. I think jealousy and you're not living your life, so you want me to live your life how you want it to be.
According to how they want you to live your life, in their eyes, their image.
Yeah, because oftentimes it's a waste of time being caught up in some show or some live chat or drama. Yeah.
And there's 1,000 other shows that are live right around the same time yours is. So there's other shows y'all can watch.
Yep.
But they choose to come to the Hake Report, man.
And sometimes it makes the Hake quite entertaining, the Hake Report.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
But I think a caller said this yesterday or the day before. Someone said Joe from Phoenix should start his own show, but I was saying the same thing about Tony from California and Maze months ago.
Right.
I think I told you in a comment, I said if Maze or Tony started their own show on YouTube, I'll be the first to subscribe to that. I'll be the first person to listen to that.
Yeah.
Same thing goes with Joe. I'll listen to your little show, Joe, if you make one. I'm perfectly okay with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is funny.
I think he's thinking about it too, by the way.
Yeah. I think he should. And you guys could do little collaboration videos, like on a live, what do you call that? FaceTime or something.
Yeah.
I think it'd be dope. Because as much as some of these people call, they might as well be on the screen with you.
The Hake and Snake show.
Yeah.
In fact, I have had Joe in studio. Joe and
I saw
Mark.
that snake.
Joe,
Yeah.
Joe and Mark
I saw that
in
puppet.
studio.
Yeah, I saw that.
Hake, you have white guilt, and Joe has black privilege. Oh,
Yeah.
here's Heinrich Himmler.
Right.
So indeed.
That would be crazy if the two of them got on the line at the same time as far as on the computer.
Yeah.
Because they might as well be a part of the show at this point, both of them.
True,
and
man.
shout out to Mark and Joe. I'm not
Yeah.
dissing anybody. I'm just saying shout out to all y'all.
Well,
I
thank
just
you,
thought it
man.
was interesting. Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate you, Greggatron,
All right.
man. Take care.
Yep. All right, have a good one.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. Very nice. So let me cover Simone Biles, okay? And then I'll get to more calls and the super chats that I'm remiss in not getting to. Simone Biles is this much celebrated black female short. Everybody's short in gymnastics except for the men. The men aren't as short, are they? Gymnast gal. And she's a young millennial Zoomer, I think. She was one of the people who was supposedly victims of Larry Nassar, but I don't really want to talk about that. It's gross. But there's drama about her and her man, and this is nothing against Simone Biles, interestingly enough. Normally, I bash the black lady athletes, such as that mixed gal from the tennis player, Naomi Osaka, mental health problems. Simone Biles, also, these young'uns, they're just not strong. They don't make the young'uns like they used to. This is from Today, today.com, not to be confused with Today the Day. This is from last week, actually. Simone Biles says the backlash from her husband, she's married, husband's viral interview, quote, really hurt, unquote. I broke down. Of course, she breaks down very easily. What is her name, Obama? Stuff chokes me up very easily. I'm a softie. That's what Obama said. So this Simone Biles gal said, it's like, talk about me all you want, but don't come from my family, never. So she's on this podcast talking about it with some white woman sitting across from her on a couch in a living room setting. And this was reported April 16th, AD 2024. Her husband, she didn't even change her name. Her husband is this guy named Jonathan Owens. He's black as well. Maybe slightly lighter skin than her. I'm not sure. Can't tell. But anyway, they're both black. Nice. Young, good-looking couple, I guess, right? She looks dressed more classily than he. He has this weird hairdo. My opinion is weird. The blacks are doing this stuff now. Like, they have like these thin braids and it's pulled up tight, and then he has one braid at least. It's coming down. I see 2 or 3, maybe some more. But other than that, he's like a normal t-shirt, jeans, sort of flashy a little bit. He has some fancy necklaces on him. I'm getting laughed at. That's quite a t-shirt, actually. It has some print on it. Actually more than just print. It has some fuzz and texture to it. Anyway, they're married. It looks like they're at some game or something, event. At a game between the Houston Rockets and LA Lakers, January 29th, 2024 in Houston, Tejas. So what happened was he said that on the April 17th episode of Alex Cooper, that's a woman, Call Her Daddy podcast, I guess she's my competitor, Simone Biles, this is an article by Drew Weisholtz and Joanne Jeffrey. She says the backlash that her husband, Jonathan Owens, different last name, she must be a feminist, received after his viral interview really hurt her. Biles addressed Owens' appearance, her husband's appearance, Simone. I'll call her Simone because ladies go by their first name, men go by their last name. Mrs. Owens addressed Mr. Owens' appearance on the Pivot podcast, in which he seemed to imply that he was the catch in their relationship. He had no clue who Simone Biles was before they got together. How long they've been together. That's one thing Terri from Oregon called Hake last week about this. Everybody knows who Simone Biles is now, but when did they marry? When did he meet her? Because they know her now. We've known about her for some years. I have, because I read the news. And then I see her dancing or doing like little gymnastic stuff in commercials. But I didn't know her name from that. But anyway, he didn't know who she was. I could believe that. Men aren't into gymnastics. He doesn't look like he's into gymnastics. I was in the room, says Simone Biles. You just couldn't see me on the videos. I was there for the whole entire video, Simone Biles said, noting that she was feeling great in the moment and thought nothing of his remarks. I was like, my man just killed it. Meaning he did a great job. That's young people speak for, he did a great job, killed it. Killed that. When I was in high school, you would say, killed it, when you tried to push a joke further to where it wasn't funny anymore. You push a joke into where it's not funny anymore. Killed it. But now killed it means good thing. So these young whippersnappers, I can't keep up. FTW meant forget the world, F the world. But now it means for the win. So there's all sick meant disgusting. Now sick means cool. So I hate these Zoomers. No, I'm kidding. Biles found out that the public felt differently, many reaching out to tell her so. Whenever you did the interview, I thought everything was okay. Then I go on Twitter. It's X now, lady. Get with the program. I know you're married now. Everybody's like, divorce this man. He's mean. I'm like, he's the sweetest. He praises the ground that I walk on. Oh, no, don't say that about him. He should divorce her for saying that. I'm actually on the next one, Hassan, since you're showing this stuff. He praises the ground that I walk on. I've never met a man like him. Oh. As for him supposedly not calling her a catch, Biles said that fans got it wrong and misinterpreted his words. Isn't it interesting? What's interesting to me is that fans, people who are all caught up with her, have their, if you will, identity caught up with her. They're identifying with her. They're more upset than she is, and they're upset on her behalf. Talk about that satanic mama spirit. It's kind of like people getting mad at me for not working out enough and being an embarrassment to the white race. It's kind of like what Sean, the producer, said. When you cringe, you're like embarrassed for somebody. You're judging them. You're being a blind mama person, not minding your own business. You're not supposed to be moved by how insane other people are. Or these people who are all disgusted by the transgenders, and some of them are showing it. They signal boost it more than anybody. I unfollow a lot of accounts that show all these transgenders and LGBTs because I don't want to see that, and they're promoting it, saying, look at this, isn't that disgusting? I'm like, yeah, stop showing it to me. So that's that. Show this picture of her being a little gymnast. Biles is the most decorated gymnast of all time, but withdrew from multiple events in Tokyo after the Twisties episode, whatever that was. She messed up. She has mental problems or emotional problems. She said she believed everybody was going to have it in for her after letting them down. So she's influenced by them thinking stuff about her. Which, it's understandable, but that's a mess. Fans take stuff way too far. They don't even know these people, says Tabitha. Exactly. Show the next one where she's diving over like a seahorse. Not a seahorse. A sawhorse? A horse? Whatever that thing is. Springboard thing. Maybe I should have censored. I didn't think about that. But she's not trying to be, I don't know. Biles has discussed her mental health struggles in the wake of what's happened in Tokyo. Whatever happened in Tokyo, she messed up something. She's eyeing a return to the Olympics this summer in Paris. So these black young ladies, and this is like a nice black young woman. And Naomi Osaka, who's Japanese and playing for the Japanese, but she's also half Jamaican and supporting the Black Lives Matter agenda in America, against America. Also, mental health breakdown. They just don't make people strong anymore. And I think these people had both parents together. Both parents together doesn't make you strong. I mean, it helps, but it doesn't increase your stability, apparently, because people are weak. That's why it matters that the father is a beta. It's not right. It's not right. Go back up to the one with the husband. I just want to see if I missed anything. He never said I wasn't a catch. He said he was a catch because he is. I've never met a man like him. A lot of people that meet him are like, oh my gosh, I want a man like that. Adding that this Jonathan Owens guy is so nice. No! Don't be called nice. A lot of girls he interacts with at the gym love him. Anyway. Is that PDA? Is that public display of affection? Her grabbing his arm, holding on to him like that? Whatever. So that's an update on Simone Biles. Gymnasts sadly have stunted growth sometimes because they start so young in such a high-impact sport. Wow. Yeah, I knew a short guy who was stocky, but he was buff. He had like a freshman in high school, these broad shoulders and like huge chest, but he was like short. Inappropriate photo, Hake. Says parte bonsa. And why do we care? Well, we may not care. I care. Mina. Or Maina, as Anchor Baby calls you. Anyway. Is it Daniel in Ocala, Florida? Is it Daniel? Or is it David in Ocala, Florida?
It's David in Ocala, Florida.
Nice. Good to hear from you, man. What's up?
What's up? You got your medium 100% cotton shirt on today. Hey?
You know what? It's not 100% cotton, unfortunately. It's poly. It's the tri-blend. So it has some polyester in it, unfortunately.
It's the tri-blend.
But it still smells fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit too hot. But go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just complaining. It's a little too hot, this T-shirt.
Oh, yeah. Well, you need to put on that Skinner shirt, man. That thing must probably shrunk down a little bit now, so it's perfect for
Nice. Yeah. And I like to be able to, I don't like having to, like, adjust. So,
right on.
Yeah, right on. Thank you for that Skinner shirt.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, I was calling because of Joe and Mark, and everything like that. And
my callers? Yeah, over the past few days?
Yeah, and Joe's trying to help them kids, and he's trying to, he's trying to do his thing and everything like that. And, nobody agrees with him totally, but, Mark staying, commenting on you do this, you do that, blah, blah, blah. Man, it's your show. You can do what you want.
Yeah.
So
true.
That's what I got to say about that. I mean, I've
fair enough, man. Yeah, I noticed as I was thinking about it, actually this morning or something, that he's trying to criticize because he was personally offended and angry that I didn't get to him. And so he's trying to compare how I treat one person versus how I treat him. And that's immature to be complaining about how I treat one versus the other. Because you're two different people, you bring two different conversations, and Why are you trying to mind your business? How pathetic you are for being angry and petty about it. You know.
Well, it was. Well, I was on hold one day for an hour and didn't get on, and
Yep.
I've called early and didn't get on for 5 calls or whatever. So it's just that's the way the deal. That's the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, you never know. Exactly.
Right. So, hey, did you hear about the the 2 bounty hunters that went into the Texas into a Nissan dealership and it turned into the Wild Wild West?
No, bounty hunters went into a Nissan dealership and it turned into the Wild Wild West?
Yeah,
Where was this?
Yeah, there's 2 bounty hunters went in. The managers let them do this, too.
Were they a team?
Well, yeah, they were a tag team,
Okay.
2 bounty hunters. They had a convict in there from, like, Michigan or something, I think, that they had a warrant out for, and they were going to go get him. And so the guys in there trying to buy a car, the convict, and the two bounty hunters go into the office, and it turns into a shoot-up fest, and all 3 of them got killed.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's not
phone.
good tactics.
No, it's not.
Man.
Talk about take it outside, you know what I'm saying?
Texas bounty hunter shootout kills 3, raising questions. Wait, this is from 2017.
What?
At least in well, I don't know. This is about This is Greenville, Texas.
Well, man, I'm behind the times, dude. I thought that was just recently, man. I mean,
yeah, 2017. Where did you come across it? No, you're fine. I don't care. It's still present times. It's not as if times have changed that much.
7 years ago.
Yeah, true.
Man. I thought it just happened the other day.
Yeah, I just searched it on the internet. Fortunately, on this totally useless website, Google, by the way. But yeah, so interesting.
Let me ask you a question, man. Let me, I don't want to go down a big rabbit hole on this, but let me ask you, have you ever been in a fight with anybody? Has anybody tried to ever hurt you and you had to fight them?
A little bit. Not a serious, crazy fight, but I've gotten into little short-lived scuffles, but I stop myself, the other guy stops himself, and it's like, or he gets stopped, and it's like, whatever. So nothing where I got hurt at all, and nothing where the other guy got hurt at all either.
So you never got into any fights in school or anything?
There were fights, but it was there was short-lived fights. It was definitely a little fight, but it was not like one guy, I punched one guy in the stomach, but I pulled my punch because I know it hurts and it looked like it might hurt, but it didn't really hurt him. And he tried to DDT me, like he put me in a headlock and like fell down backwards, and I got up and like kicked away from him because it didn't hurt me, and then that was over. And then another time, another guy tried to get me in like a headlock and it wasn't hurting, and we were like fighting over the bat in the baseball field at school. And those are the only times I've ever fought. There's been a couple of times where people will like punch me in the arm and try to get aggressive, but I'm like, psh.
Yeah, that's no big thing.
Yeah.
They might be messing with you. I've been in about 12 fights in my life, and that's probably why I'm very defensive, because I never started one. There was always somebody coming at me, and I had to defend myself. So,
But that says something about you still, I bet.
What's that?
That you attract fights. Because I don't really attract fights. So there's something about you that's angry.
No, you'd had to seen what I looked like as a kid. The problem was I had blonde hair, blue eyes, and I was girls liked me a lot, and so those kids that they don't like that. They didn't have that kind of. It was usually over girls and stuff like that.
Interesting. That
they'd
could
run
add
their
to it.
mouth, and I would finally tell them they better shut up, and then it would then it would lead on to that.
Yeah, but you were also because pretty ladies, men don't necessarily get into fights that much. You were angry. You admitted to me that you were angry. You went at your stepfather, right? Or some guy who was beating on your mother.
Well, I was 7 years old. Yeah, he was beating my mom down the hallway, and I pulled that knife out on him.
Yeah, so you were wow, you just doxed your body as a blonde-haired, blue-eyed man.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, you were an angry person.
Well, wouldn't you be angry if somebody was slapping your mama around down the hallway?
I don't know. I've never been in that situation, but I'm not.
I mean,
I'm
can you
not saying there
imagine
wasn't.
that, a 7-year-old kid having to deal with something like that? 7 years old.
Yeah, I mean, it probably you got the anger from your mother more than that guy. You probably had anger well before that 7 years old.
No, I was just defending my mom. I was like, this is it, dude. This is going to end right now, or you're going to get this knife jabbed in your eye socket.
Whoa.
How that was going to go.
Were you a second grader at that point, or an old first grader?
Yeah, I was in second grade.
Wild.
I went into my senior year in high school. I was 16 when I went in. I turned 17 in December. I was young, dude.
Oh.
So I was. Oh yeah, think about that.
So you were a little kid. You were like
yeah.
Were you little for your grade?
Yeah, I was that little guy that when he went crazy, they went like, man.
Yeah, so you were one of those like over-aggressive Chihuahua people.
Only if I got attacked, okay?
I know, but you would.
I never started nothing with anybody. Anyway, hey, remember when I called you about these these kids that are protesting and everything? I'll bring this up, and then I know you got to go because of the break. Them kids are crazy. I mean, who in there? I mean, these,
You're talking about, by kids, you mean college.
Yeah, them college
dummies.
Kids are out of their minds. And what it is, we let these kids in this country, man. We let these wicked people in our country to burn our flag and to disrupt everything and gave them a scholarship to do it. I'm paying for them to go do it. Yeah,
it's terrible. And you know what makes people angry, too, is spreads the anger is there are angry people who know how to play innocent and nice, and they get into positions of influence and power, and those people make the other people angry because they're like basically communists dressed up in a suit. And
like somebody like AOC?
No, well, yeah, her too. I wasn't thinking of her. I was thinking of...
Hey, I called up Ilhan Omar's office, okay, about a couple of days ago, okay?
Yeah.
And just told the receptionist, does that woman know how evil she is? You working for... I mean, I laid it on the line, man.
That's so
funny.
funny.
Was going to hang up on me.
Did they hang up? What did you say about hanging up on you?
I thought she would have hung up on me, and I paused for a second, and she was still there. And the woman, she said, "I'll tell her. You want my email?" I said, "No, you got my phone number. Have her call me. I'll tell her on the phone."
You're from Ocala, Florida. Why would she call you? You're not her constituent.
I was just making a statement. If she really wants to converse with me, just tell her to give me a buzz, and I'll tell her how evil and wicked she is.
What made you call her? When was this?
I saw her on TV saying something. I forget what the deal was. They were talking about her, and she's just so wicked and evil. That's one of the most wickedest, evil persons I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting that you say that. But yeah, she is evil.
Yeah. And so what they got two things, and I'll let you go. If you notice, they use racism and climate control. That's their two go-to control mechanisms that they have.
Climate control, climate change, you mean?
Yeah, climate change and racism. And them letting them Black Lives Matter protests go on, and like as long as they did, what they should have done was, I think I might have told you this before, if I was President Trump, I would have broke out the fire department on them and hosed them down, okay? I would have just broke out the fire hose and just blew them all over the place, and they wouldn't have hurt, they wouldn't have killed them or nothing, but you get hit by a fire hose, man, you might fly 50 feet. Follow me? Put an end to that junk, and since nobody put an end to it, what I'm getting to is this thing's just going to get worse and worse. Hey, you watch.
Yeah, the reason that I surmise that the reason that they don't do the fire hoses or the dogs anymore is because it harkens back to the 60s. And the mainstream media successfully propagandized the dumb, even conservative boomers to think that harkens back to racism and police brutality, when in reality I think it might have been reasonable measures. I don't know.
Sure.
But
you got to put fear in them, man. You got to put some fear in them. That's why Israel attacked them. I mean, when you jump over the fence and you go burn a baby, okay, and film it, hey, buddy, it's all on now, okay? That's, they wiped them out. They're done. The Palestinians are finished, buddy. They might as well just move to Iran or something like that, okay? Because them,
Iran doesn't want. Nobody wants them. Nobody wants these people.
Yeah, nobody wants them. Iran and Russia gets into this thing now, okay? Because the Iranians shooting those missiles over there and all that. And Israel retaliated.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
It's going to progressively get worse.
Yeah, it's a nasty situation. That's why I would like for a cool-headed man of authority like our greatest president, Trump, to get back in there and somebody who's actually on Israel's side, because right now the people who are telling Israel to calm down are not on Israel's side. They're not their friends, So Trump is on Israel's side, and he's more believably on Israel's side, but he's also on the side of peace. So he's like, you gotta end it. You gotta finish this because it's not looking good for you. And so it would be nice for something like that to happen, because Trump knows how to work with people and get the crazier people, like maybe Iran, like maybe Putin. I don't know if Putin's crazy, but like little rocket man Kim Jong-un. He knows how to work with those people and win their respect and bring peace into the world more. But these other people, they don't know how to do that. They just want to be like, Russia, and fund this.
Well, because they're wimps. He tells them, listen, I know where you live. He sent that one guy his told him, the coordinates of where he lived and said, I'm going to blow you to bits, buddy. Okay. And the guy said, yes, sir. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, your majesty. You know what I'm saying?
But you got to be careful, man. Be careful when you're calling these offices and things, because you got to watch your anger. You don't want to be puffing up in anger, judging them, and you may say the wrong thing or invite the wrong kind of attention on you.
I don't care. I'm 58 years old now. It don't matter, man. I mean, the bottom line is they're not going to worry about me. I understand what you're saying, though, but I just can't take it no more watching those four evil women that are up there, the squad.
But you don't want to deal with your anger about it, because you don't want to be you don't want these ladies to get, we're using the term loosely, to get under your skin.
They're not under my skin. I ain't like, getting all crazy like Mark getting crazy the other day. I called up, and I was real, I didn't, raise my voice about it.
Okay.
I just went more like, do you know how wicked that woman is and how evil she is, who you work for? Does she realize how wicked she is and that she's going straight to hell? That's basically how it went down. I wanted to prove a point.
I don't think you proved anything. You just proved that you're kind of crazy.
Right, that I am.
Because that's how they took it.
I'll leave you at that, buddy. You have a great show, okay?
You too, man. Appreciate you. Nice call. Thanks for the story. Take care.
Oh, all right. No problem, man. All right, bye-bye.
Bye. I once called the office of Dianne Feinstein. I went to some event with one of these Asian male liberal politicians and said, I disagree with you going after the gun stuff. He's like, oh, you disagree? And I took a picture with him. But I called Dianne Feinstein's office every day. I think it was Dianne Feinstein. She's the senator dinosaur. Is she alive or did she die? I think she might have died. I got hung up on by this guy who sounded not morally straight. Because I would call every day. I disagree with this and this and this. Because I would listen to the radio hosts, and the radio host would say, call your senator, call your politician, call your representative. So I would call them every day. And it was doing nothing. They're like, okay, well, thank you for the input. Or they just hang up. I remember calling Home Depot when they supported the gay parades. I'm like, I don't support you guys supporting the disgusting pride parades. Well, we like to include everybody. Well, me too, but you're supporting wrong as right. And it's in your face to the Christians. Some silly woman. So, whatever. Anyway, we are at the top of the hour. That means it's Steve Taylor Tuesday, guys. This track is from 1995 or 1994, the album Squint. This track is entitled Jesus is for Losers. I'll be right back for your calls. There is one line open. And your super chats, guys. But now, Steve Taylor, Jesus is for Losers. Christian, guys. People saying this is anti-Christian. No, it's pro-Christian. What, you think you're some winner? Jesus is for losers. He came for the lost. Shout out to Steve Taylor. Thank you guys for bearing with me through that nice music. I like that song. I used to sing it to myself in high school when I was running. Nice. Right on. Karen Williams says, Hake, you truly need a tight holding squeeze. Well, thank you, Karen. Voice not bad either, says Rich. Right on. Who came up with that misguided title, asks Farsights. Beta lyrics, says Jupiter. How do these people sound? These, not people, but octopi. Well, thank you guys again. So, Matthew, no, it's not anti-Christian. It is Christian. It's deep, Hake, says Terry. Thank you. Okay, before I get to calls, hang tight, callers. I gotta get to super chats. Friday, on the Hake report, Nicolas Gonzalez. Oh, I gotta schedule Joelle coming up next. Also known as Anchor Baby, bought 5 coffees on the Hake report. That's right, he did. And he wrote, Mark asked what we should call you talking to a con man, as in Joe from Phoenix. I would call it a great show, says Nick, the Anchor Baby. We get to see evil, crazy minds on display, indeed. Handled by a white Christian man. I was 6 years old and I used to say, I'm John, I'm 7, and I'm a man. Because I wanted to be old. Oh no, I was 3 years old. Why are you trying to ruin our learning experience? Nick asks Mark, or he did on Friday. Nice. And at this point, just call me Mike bought a coffee. Poor Hank. Full of white guilt. Teardrop on this sad face emoji. No, I'm just joking. Laughing face with tears coming out. Sideways. Have a nice day, holy Hake. Best show on this side of heaven. Salute emoji, blue heart. Thank you. At this point, just call me Mike. It was funny because he's like all bitter and petty and sour grapes that I didn't get to his call several weeks ago. And he's all, you just have white guilt and Joe gets black privilege. That's all it is. All bitter. And then he calls himself objective. No, shout out to, well, yes. I do mock you, but shout out to Mark in Los Angeles. No different in evil spirit from the snake himself, Joe from Phoenix, who's on hold. So let me plow through these super chats. Thank you. At this point, just call me Mike. Terry bought a coffee over on buymeacoffee.com over the weekend or so. I apologize for using the term gay in a negative way when I called in, and for gossiping about celebrities on your show. Thanks for helping me see I need to look N-wordly. N-wordly. Thank you, Terry, for the coffee and the support. And it is a negative thing to be a gay. Oops, I just said the word. But also, it could have been like maybe iffy for the sake of the channel, I guess. And also, you just call it, maybe you call it weak. But sometimes you say the G word for effect, because it hurts more sometimes than just weak. I'm not gay, I'm just weak. Same thing, you're a. And sometimes that pierces the ego more, and that's what they need, sometimes. But yeah, you want to be appropriate on the show, too. Yeah, fair enough, Terry. Thank you for the apology and the coffee, and right on. Yeah, check yourself. It's good. Yesterday, the Zesty one donated a couple of coffees. What a boring show today, meaning yesterday. Hake has no energy at all, especially after that great week of shows last week. Mark stinks something, but he's entertaining. We need more callers like Maze, Tony, Russ, Frederick, JC, John, people who you are afraid of. It's people of whom you are afraid, or whatever. Wake up, Hake! You're making me sleepy today. He also says, you owe many people an apology. Triple exclamation mark. You insult so many of your listeners just because they disagree. Yeah. You mean like the flat earthers and the ball tards? Are you seriously Dee Dylan Roof? I don't know who Dee Dylan Roof is, but did you mean defending Dylan Roof? I was not defending Dylan Roof. I was asking Mark if that was a bum. You need to work on yourself and don't back at ya. Just take the advice. On another note, I'm going to buy a Cameo one day. Did you know Hake has Cameos now? I haven't checked. I don't know if I should check my Cameos. Anybody buy a Cameo from Hake? Cameo.com/The Hake Report. No Cameo requests. Oh no, do I have one? I haven't promoted it quite much yet, but Cameo.com/The Hake Report. Thank you, person. Court bought 5 coffees saying, I nominate Mocky Mott, the snake Mott, for MVP of the year. Thank you, Court, for your 5 coffees and your nomination. Anybody second Mocky Mott, the snake Mott, for MVP of the year? I'm starting to understand your spelling, Court, even though Lin Yan Chin blocked you for being subhuman. Nice, Court. Let me check over on Streamlabs, see how we're doing over here. And shout out to Fan of the Ladies and 5555565 and Strifecast for the ice creams and the subscriptions. That's cool. Evil is Still Real gave a coffee on Rumble. Octopuses gives the word English ending, gives the word an English ending to match its adoption, as an English word. Generally, when a noun enters into English, it is pluralized as an English word rather than its original form, such as octopi. Oh, thank you, Evil is Still Real. I appreciate that, and I prefer saying octopuses, I guess, rather than octopi. Octopi. What am I, some foreigner? No, I'm American. Okay, I'll get to the rest of the Super Chats in a moment. I have a informative Super Chat coming up from Base America First. But I got to get to Daniel in Tejas, who's been on hold forever and a day. Daniel in Texas, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm well, James. How are you?
Doing fine. Thank you.
Please, I have a request.
Uh-huh.
Please do not have William whipped for standing up for Joe. Now, I know that we got to keep a lid on a lot of this uppityness.
Right.
But you know, William's getting up there in age, and I just don't think it's necessary to. Well, I'm just saying I could never fault a black man for defending another black man.
Fair enough, man. That's kind of you. Some might even call it mama, but you are my manager of my slaves here on the Hake Report. And when you grab my wrist to stop me from cracking the whip on William, I respect it because you don't do that very often. So I'll listen.
Okay. Thank you.
Nice,
Thank
man.
you. That's my humble request.
Fair enough.
I'm not going to keep going into this. Oh, by the way, just the Daniel in Texas, that's a different Daniel in Texas, the one that donated to JLP.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I heard that. It was a great thing that he said. I just wanted to clarify. That's not me. That's another. There's more than one Daniel in Texas.
I would think so, but I didn't know which one that it might have been. So thanks for clarifying.
There's 2 of them.
Yes, indeed.
Anyway, so I'm calling about the killing power during the American Civil War.
Oh.
Is this an appropriate thing to talk about right now?
Yeah, briefly. Let's hear it. Your killing power, that I understand that to mean how much they were able to off people. The
Yes.
numbers.
There's two things happening at once in this period of time. The killing power of riflery is going up, and the care of hospitals is an unknown entity at this point. That hospitals have to run to catch up to the killing effectiveness of this new advanced weaponry.
Oh, wow.
So, unlike different times when killing power wasn't as efficient, what is happening here is a vast incremental incline of killing ability because the hospitals can't catch up.
Yeah.
And what happens in the triage when they're racking and stacking who they're going to give medical attention to and who they're going to leave to the side, it basically comes down to this. If you're shot in the arms or the legs, in your extremities, they may be able to help you out. They might have to amputate. They may be able to bandage you up, but you may live. If you're shot in the torso, they put you off to the side. They don't bother with you.
Wow.
And if you live, you live. If you die, you die.
Did they give you any anesthesia, or did they have such a thing?
It was basically alcohol.
Pour it on you, or pour it in you, let you drink it?
You would drink it to kill the pain.
Wow.
And of course, alcohol thins the blood, so the bleeding, it's a big problem. But there's a famous Jeb Stuart, the cavalry officer under Lee's army, died in it was a very eerie death because it was very similar to the way Stonewall Jackson died, and it was in this similar area in a similar manner, but he didn't drink, and as he's dying, his men said, "Would you like some whiskey?" He said, "No, I promised my mother I'd never drink."
Wow.
And they said, "Well, no, seriously, you're dying. Do you
Yeah.
do you want some? Do you want something?" But that's basically all they had for killing pain was whiskey.
Yeah.
But if you're amputated, there's no guarantee you're going to survive, and that's how Stonewall Jackson died. He died after being amputated. He lost his left arm.
Wow.
And they
I didn't know
amputated
this.
his left arm, and he died from pneumonia.
Wow.
But what's going on here with the weapons, so that's the medical care, but with the weapons, we are introduced to rifling and the muskets. Now, before you had smoothbore muskets, which meant at 100 yards away, right, the length of a football field. James, if you line me up with your musket and you fire at me, you will have a 50-50 chance of hitting me. But if you have a rifled musket, you'd hit me 100% of the time.
Wow.
So your killing ability now has a more effective range than it ever has in the past. And this is basically something that they are learning in the beginnings of these wars when they're getting into their formations. The reason why you want to know how to march formations is because that's how you're going to maintain a continuous fire, right? With muskets, there's a loading process, a 9-step loading process, as opposed to modern weaponry, right?
Yeah.
So you have to have continuous fire from multiple people, and you do that with formations. And that gives you this kind of machine gun type fire.
Wow. Nice.
That's
Rifling is that swirly, spiraling, grooving.
Yes.
To make it spin so that when it's spinning, it's more stable in its direction.
Yes.
Kind of like a gyro. Cool.
Yes.
All right. And then,
So that's
wow. Drama. Crazy. War drama.
Another thing I know often when we hear about these old battles, we think of these marching formations marching towards each other, and we think, man, that's dumb. They're all marching towards each other and just shooting at each other like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, these frontal assaults is what we'll call them, right? Advancing towards an enemy that is facing you and is firing upon you, we'll call that a frontal assault. The reason they carried out these frontal assaults is because they worked.
Yeah.
You could take enemy positions. You could do it even if you're outnumbered. You could advance through enemy fire, because if you are able to get to the enemy's position, you basically can use your rifle as a spear.
Yeah.
You know, so frontal assaults work. They work, and the closer you are to your enemy, the more effective your killing power is. So it's just kind of simple math. But these techniques of frontal assaults is how they won victories in the Mexican-American War. The Mexicans were heavily defended in these positions when they were sieged, and the Americans cut off their own supply lines. So what it means when you cut your own supply lines means that you've taken a line of supplies to a certain destination, and then you basically cut the umbilical cord. You cut off your supply. You take what you can, but only what you can carry, and you take it as deep into enemy territory with the hope that you will take the enemy position before you starve to death.
Oh,
and this
wow.
is something they learned in the Mexican-American War. And Lee and Grant used these tactics to their advantage in the American Civil War. So that's what's going on when I say they cut their supply lines. It's very dangerous, but they're effective.
Nice,
because
man.
The enemy doesn't expect it. That's why. The enemy expects you to be fat and happy.
Right.
So, anyway.
Cool, man. All. Thank you for the little background on the details of war. It's crazy, man.
Yeah. Right on. Okay.
I appreciate you, man. All right. Bye. Jeff in Louisiana on the line here. Jeff, always love talking with you. How you doing?
Pretty good, man. How about yourself?
Doing fine. Thank you.
And I just want to have one question. I said I don't want to get in an argument. Yesterday you told Marcus you like to argue and talk to Joe, because that's why you talk to Joe and Phoenix.
Yeah.
But you always disconnect Mark.
Always disconnect Mark?
Yeah. I mean, you always cut him short.
Because I agree with Mark more than I do with Joe. Joe will bring up stuff and actually, and he'll argue like a Reddit bro. And Mark says stuff that most of the time everybody already agrees with. And so what is there to say? It's a completely different type of a conversation. I have no...
Okay, man, that's all I want to...
Yeah, I have no argument with Mark except for his ego and his anger. Yeah, so and that's why I keep Mark on longer lately. Have you noticed me arguing more with Mark?
I'll be honest, I haven't listened to the show 2 or 3 times in the past couple of weeks. The last time I talked to you, you aggravated me. You aggravated me a lot, but
okay.
I ain't looking as much.
Well, thanks for tuning in again. No problem. You got to live your life, too. Appreciate you, Jeff in Louisiana. Hope I answered satisfactorily.
Okay, man. Have a good one.
You too. Bye. Ah, you got me good with that. I'll get you next time. I'll get you next time. Jeff in Louisiana. Terrible. I'm overreacting, if you don't know, to the hard click. I don't think he clicked on purpose. I don't think he even knows that. That was the loudest quick click I've ever heard, says Strifecast. I know. That was like, I knew it was coming too. And I didn't want to be too quick, but then since I was thinking about it, it made me clumsy. You know how when you think about stuff, rather than just living in the moment and doing it, you can't do it. You mess up, or at least I do. It's terrible. Let me not waste too much time talking about that, though. Hake has autism. That was a good one, Jeff in Louisiana. Joe in Phoenix, Arizona is on the line here. It's the Hake and Snake Show with Hake and Joe. What's up, Joe in Phoenix, Arizona?
Good morning, James.
Good morning.
All righty. I'm actually in the very uncomfortable position of having to thank you this morning.
Oh, thank me for what?
Well, as I told you, my pastor buddy and I, we used to be a lot closer because our kids came up in 4 years together. We would see each other all the time and talk more often.
Your pastor and you?
Yeah, but I'm sorry, what?
Your pastor buddy and you?
Yeah.
Okay.
But as our kids got older, went to different high schools, and now they're off in college, we haven't seen each other as much. We don't talk as often. But ever since he's been watching your show, he's been calling me almost every day to talk about you and your show.
That's funny, man. That's cool.
So
Well, it's
we
exciting
kinda
for me
closer.
anyway.
Yeah, so that's good. And he actually got asked to come teach a week worth of Sunday school lessons over at a church outside of Albuquerque, a large church there. And they asked him to teach on anger and hatred. And he's going to use some of your calls with Himmler, co-host, as part of his presentation when he's teaching over there next week.
Nice, man. Nick, the American Anchor Baby, had a great short that I think the JLP Network put out of Nick's conversation with Mark about loving your enemy and stuff like that. And it's something that Mark's excuse is, well, that's Jesus. He's the Son of God. He can do it where I'm not. And so he just throws out that commandment about loving your enemy. He says, basically, I'm human. I can't do it. Reminds me of the blacks who say, I'm human. I can't do anything except for keep on having the S word out of wedlock. So, yeah, you don't want to buy into the doubt of excuses, because that's a doubt from the devil. And he also doesn't seem to know what love is. These people talking about.
So I have to grudgingly admit that the Hake Report is doing some good in the world.
Nice. Mark from Los Angeles doing good in the world, kind of.
Inadvertently, yeah.
Right on.
You mentioned earlier that Obama had a lot of socialism.
Yeah.
Now we're going to argue. You can't name a single socialist policy that he put in place when he was in office. Not one, James.
I can.
He cut the deficit by 75%. Cut spending, not increase spending.
Then how did the debt double?
Congress is in charge of the debt, not the president, James.
Doesn't the president have to sign off on the debt?
Absolutely not, no.
Oh, the Congress passes the budget and this president doesn't sign it?
Congress can override the president when it comes to the debt, James.
Is that what happened?
Absolutely. And
so that Congress, wait. You're saying that Congress passed a budget and Obama vetoed it and Congress overrid it with a huge budget?
Overrode it, you mean?
Overrode it, yeah, whatever.
Yes. Actually, the main thing about that was that there was already baked-in spending that was passed from previous Congresses that had to be honored.
I understand that. Yeah, I know that George W. Bush was a big spender. I know Obama was a big crazy spender, but
not at all. He cut the deficit, James. The first step to cutting the debt is cutting the deficit.
At what point in his career? At what point in his presidency did he cut it? At the very beginning? Or later on, or when? Because cutting the deficit is, that can happen at any point. You can spend a lot, you can increase the debt, or you can...
I'd have to go over it again, but I'm pretty sure it was throughout the whole 8 years. The deficit was reduced.
Oh, every single year he reduced the deficit?
I don't want to commit to that without knowing for sure. I'd have to go back and look, but I do know that 75% was the overall net effect of him being in office.
So anyway, I get that the deficit is spending more than you're bringing in, right? And so he cut that, he cut that amount. And so we were bringing in more, and we were spending a little bit less, maybe, according to you. But he was definitely...
Not according to me, according to government agencies that track that, the CPO.
Okay, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, I don't know or care that much about that. Because his policies were definitely socialist. For example, Obamacare, that was a socialist thing.
How was socialist, James? That was
forcing people to buy into something that they don't necessarily want to do that. That's socialism.
Or forcing people to be responsible for paying for their own health care.
Right, because that's not actually what it was. You can't force people to be responsible. Yeah. That's socialism.
You want to put them in debtor's jail. That's forcing them to be responsible. What are you talking about?
But that's not necessarily really... That's more like... That's not socialism, though. Debtor's prison is not socialism. It's like what you get.
Sure it is, because you gotta pay for them in prison, don't you?
No, they have to pay their own way. They have to work on the fields. They have to be slaves.
They have no money.
But if they're working, then it's kind of paying for itself.
So have them pay for their own health insurance, James, because
No.
they were freeloading. They were freeloading off
And
my
who's-
back and your back
and
and
who's
other
they?
Terry's back.
Who's they?
What?
Who's they?
The people who didn't have health insurance. They were still going to ER rooms to get health care, and
But
we were
which
paying for that.
which people didn't have health insurance? Freeloading off
At
of
the time, I believe it was over 20 million Americans didn't have health care.
and non-Americans too. We have an immigration problem, and we have a useless bum problem, and they solve it because they have these government programs. Oh, we're not going to turn people away. We're going to save people, and then they're getting
Okay,
this
stop.
free emergency
The
room
ACA
stuff.
did not cover illegals, James. That's a lie, and you know.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
It did not.
I wasn't even talking about that. I was talking about abuse of emergency rooms. Illegals would abuse emergency room visits. They would go to urgent care, and so it was. So blacks had problems with competing with illegals in hospitals because they're both kind of freeloaders. And then there's whites who are doing it, of course.
Bringing the blacks into it, sure.
But I mean, it's true. And I'm not saying that the whites didn't do it too. Some whites probably did it too. But it was useless bums who were freeloading. And then those people ended up being subsidized by a whole lot of all this stuff. Anyway,
James,
so it's
James,
socialism.
You do know that a lot of the homeless people, I'm not sure what the percentage is, but they're veterans. I'm not sure calling them useless bums is the right way to describe them.
I wasn't referring to homeless people when I'm calling them bums. By bums, I mean freeloaders, people who may have homes, but they're bums. They're using welfare. They're using all kinds of services, so quote unquote free services that are already subsidized by us. So
okay, so you agree with me? Those folks should be paying for their own health care, right?
Right. They shouldn't have it subsidized
There you
by.
go.
They shouldn't
So
have it.
Well, why are you arguing?
Because they're not paying for it still.
They are paying for it.
No, they're not.
They have to.
No, they're not.
They have to.
Have you ever heard of?
Is
it subsidized or is it subsidized?
Is what subsidized?
Their Obamacare that they're getting.
Is it subsidized? No. The answer is no, James.
What?
No one's getting free money.
No one's getting their health care subsidized, their health insurance subsidized?
Wow, you really don't understand the ACA, do you?
No, you're pretending like people don't have all kinds of subsidies.
No, James. You need to read the actual law.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you really do. Because
I don't.
You're talking nonsense right now.
It was already subsidized by getting the free stuff, and Obamacare gives
free stuff, James?
The free stuff of urgent care rooms and stuff like that.
That's not free, James.
Yes,
you
it
and I
is.
are paying for that.
Exactly, but it's free to them. That's called subsidized.
So forcing them to pay for that is the right thing to do.
No, it's not. So because there's other people. You're biased.
I'm biased. Okay.
Yeah, because
I'm just quoting facts and you're getting frustrated.
No, because you're quoting irrelevant facts that have nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Reality. Forcing people to be responsible
and then they called it
healthcare is the right thing to do.
You're just parroting his propaganda.
No, I'm parroting actual real life facts, living in the real world. Unlike you, who just want to smear the ACA because.
No, you're pretending that the people who don't pay for their stuff are all of a sudden paying for their stuff when they're getting it subsidized.
Or they faced IRS penalties.
No, they're getting subsidized so-called health insurance.
Were you aware of that? That if you didn't pay for it, you faced an IRS penalty?
Yeah, because they called it a tax, which is also socialism.
Actually, it wasn't a tax. The Supreme Court ruled that it was not a tax.
No, the Supreme Court ruled that it was a tax.
No, you're wrong, James. Go back and look. My gosh, you were so uninformed on the ACA.
They ruled that it was a tax.
That's why they ruled. That's why they ruled that it should not be overturned. It was not a tax. It was within the powers of Congress to have that fine. As a fine, it was not a tax. They tried to make it a tax to overturn it.
The Supreme Court found that penalties the law places on people who don't buy health insurance count as a tax protected by the Constitution, according to CNN. So 2020. Yes. The Supreme Court found that it was a tax. The Obama administration had argued that the fees should be considered a penalty, but they ruled that it was a tax, right?
No, wrong. Keep reading, James. You will see that it was eventually ruled a penalty, not a tax.
The High Court rejected the penalty argument. The payment is not so high that there is really no choice but to buy health insurance. The payment is not limited to willful violations, blah, 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 blah. And so they count it as taxation. So you're confused. It sounds like you're confused.
It was ruled within the powers of Congress, and it was not overturned.
Right.
That was the whole key issue.
And therefore, it was a tax. It was a tax. They called it a tax. They were saying that it wasn't a tax, but it is a tax. He was lying and pretending it wasn't a tax.
It was not. It's not a tax, and it was within the powers, and that's why it was not overturned. That's why we still have the ACA 2 days.
No, it is. Okay, well, now you're confused, but okay, you've been confused before.
James, do we have the ACA today or not?
We do.
There you go. So it was not
Socialism.
overturned.
Right. I didn't say it was.
Tax issue. That was the whole point in trying to overturn it. Sorry, you're wrong on this, James.
No.
You don't understand the why. You haven't even read it. You have no idea what you're talking about as per usual. You've been confused before, yeah.
No, you're a communist who supports the black liberal communists because he's a communist black liberal, like you.
Nothing communist and nothing socialist about Obama. Not a single thing, Andrew.
And then he wanted to grab the guns, and then he wanted to
never brought
he wanted to force
legislation. None.
Obamacare
0.
also wanted to force us to subsidize the gays and the transgenders and abortion and
in what way?
And
no abortion.
And yes, it did. And it also wanted to subsidize birth control and all that stuff. And Obama increased the spending for abortion, and you explain that away. But
we have talked about that.
Yeah, all you ever do is explain it away, make excuses for Obama, who was pro-abortion.
You don't understand politics at all. I mean, zero.
I don't have to understand politics. I know Obama was pro-abortion.
He was anti-abortion and abortion.
No, he's very pro. Obama was extremely pro-abortion.
During his 8 years, he was anti-abortion.
He was very much for abortion. He didn't even want his daughters to be punished with the baby if they make a mistake. I don't want them punished with the baby.
He's a Democrat. He also said he wanted to see less.
Right. He was a Democrat, a pro-abortion person.
And more fast. He said, you always forget this part. I want to see less abortions, more fostering, more adoption. And abortions fell during his 8 years.
Abortions have been falling for years already.
Yeah, you can't wave it away and say that.
Because it's true. Abortions have been falling already. It's not as if abortions were falling thanks to Obama. He's not in the bedrooms. He's giving them.
That he said he wanted to see less abortions, James.
Obama was of the ilk who gave them birth control so they wouldn't have to kill the babies. And condoms, passing out condoms.
Birth been legal for years before Obama. What are you talking about?
I'm talking, Joe. You're talking over me. Passing out condoms in churches. Snake Obama, supported by Snake.
Nothing to do with the
Joe. And he has to call it the ACA because he has to pretend like he respects it. It's Obamacare. You're a sucker.
It's the ACA. Do you know where the Obamacare term came from? Do you have any idea?
I don't know, and I don't care.
Exactly. You don't know. You don't know a lot of things, Shane.
Right, and you think that you know so much.
Because I do, and you don't. you can thank Romney for that term, not Obama. Sorry.
So what? It's still Obamacare.
Yeah. No, it's the ACA. That's the name.
That's the name. These names are deceptive. They pretend like it's the Affordable Care Act when people's health insurance went up. Socialism.
Wrong. The CBO again said that it slowed the rising cost of health care.
The CBO is a liar. The CBO is a bunch of liar politicians. People's health insurance went up. And you're saying, no, don't believe your lying eyes about what's happening to your bills. believe the CBO. Actually, the rising
no
costs
proof of
went
that.
under control.
Some folks did.
Yeah, exactly. So you said no, and now you're admitting some folks did because you don't care about folks. You care about Obama because he's black.
Just making a sweeping generalization that everyone's healthcare went up.
I didn't
Sorry,
say
you're
everyone's.
wrong.
I never said everyone's. You just
And
think
you're acting
everyone
as
because you're not an honest person.
You're acting as if you know more than the CBO, and you admit that you know nothing.
No, I don't.
Zero
I don't
about
act
the
as if
ACA.
I know more than the CBO. I said the CBO are a bunch of lying, phony politicians. The people who,
Okay, sure.
the people who know what's going on are the people who are living it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, anyway.
And no, Mr. Pink, I don't know Romney. I don't love Romney. Sorry, you're wrong.
Whatever. So, yeah, Obama was definitely a socialist. He wanted to grab guns. He wanted
you've named
to
nothing. It didn't grab
subsidize
any
abortions.
guns.
He wanted
Zero
to.
gun
He wanted to
reform
get.
laws
He
were
wanted the
passed
government
under
to.
him. Zero.
He wanted to meddle in the health insurance world, which
Do
the
you
government
ever
meddling
stop
in the
lying?
health insurance in the
Do
health
you
world
ever
is
stop
why
lying
the.
about Obama?
Are you going to keep talking over me, man? The government meddling in the health
Stop lying
insurance.
anytime soon?
Bye. Whatever. I realized that JLP would hang up on him because he just talks over you when you're talking, or tries to like. So, I think that's the way to do it. Jaime in Minnesota is on the line here, and I have to end on time. Jaime, thank you for holding. What's up, man?
Hey.
Hey.
I did a Google search about did the ACA raise premiums for people, and it said that it did. For
Boom!
Women and people without pre-existing conditions, more so than those with.
Wow.
But,
Yep.
I mean, that was from commonwealthfund.org.
And
I don't know how.
that is steal from the rich to give to the poor. Robin Hood, thief.
And I
Socialism.
noticed how Joe kind of says a lot, you don't know what you're talking about, or you really don't know politics, I heard.
Yeah.
And he's trying to discredit you. That's pretty evil.
Wow. Yeah, true.
You ever notice that? How evil Joe is?
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely a snake. They use facts to distract from the truth. People like that.
Right.
And then there's very, very accusatory too. Yeah.
Right. So I wanted to call about Mark and some of your other callers. My wife was telling me that she thinks that they're addicted to cortisol.
Oh.
And that's why they stay ramped up. They can't ramp down. You know, they can't calm themselves
You're
down
referring to my
because of an
callers.
addiction. Yeah, like Mark and
Yeah.
the Pharaoh and Maze.
Cortisol. That's like an excitement hormone, right? A steroid
Like a
hormone
stress.
produced by your 2 adrenal glands sit on top of each kidney. When you're stressed, increased cortisol is released into the bloodstream, according to this totally useless website, Google.
Right. So if you're addicted to it, you want more. And so that's why it doesn't
Oh,
even matter if they actually believe you. They just need that cortisol.
yeah. That's
and
terrible.
the reason that she said that was that her mom was that way,
Oh, wow.
addicted to cortisol, and she would behave in that way.
That's interesting, man. So that's a physical explanation, and it's also sort of comes from the spiritual, I think.
Yeah, so like if they needed to spiritually break from that,
Yeah.
they're going to have a withdrawal
Yeah.
phase because of this physical chemical.
Oh, you know what? I'm not going to be able to get to the rest of my coffees. But you remind me of something that Base America First said one time, that when your boyfriend's girlfriend's with somebody, and then you break up with them, you have this feeling like you're dying, and it's like a physical feeling, and it reminds me of that very thing, that it really kind of is a feeling / also emotion. It's a physical feeling too.
I believe that's oxytocin.
Okay.
When you have physical touch with somebody.
Yeah.
It releases oxytocin.
Just using one another. All about you.
But the other thing about talking to your representatives, there's a representative that I have, and I sent them some money, and they will send you a lot of letters.
Oh, yeah. I hate that.
$20 or something.
Right.
And they'll invite you to dinners. And it's like $500.
Yeah, right.
But that's, it's to fund them.
Right.
And over here where I'm at in Minnesota, you got that Ilhan Omar. She's in the Minneapolis district. I think they call it District 5.
Yeah.
But it's highly, highly Democrat there. The governor race over here, the Democrats, they only have like 3 or 4 key areas, and that beats out all of the rural Minnesota. All of rural Minnesota, if you look at the election map, was red. It's just the places by Minneapolis were blue.
Yeah.
And the guy still won.
The corrupt cities.
Right. And so I guess the only way to get that to be the opposite is to put your money where your mouth is, is the people, the representatives that are in Minneapolis that are Republican, they need to be paid more money. People need to donate to them.
Oh.
There's really no other way. You call your representative or anything. If it's trash, they're gonna just delete it, or they got somebody to listen to your abuse for them.
Yeah.
So it's probably you gotta fund the other person, and you gotta put your cash where your mouth is.
And why is that again? That you need to fund them?
Well, okay, so they're not gonna run for free.
Oh, okay.
And like a guy like me, I'm working.
They can't. Some of them they can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not only that, but I'm in an area where it's already red.
Yeah.
It's already the political party I like.
Right.
And if it's somewhere, I'm not going to move to the cities. I don't like it over there.
Yeah.
But there are people over there that maybe are aspiring to be in politics.
Right. I always think of it, I get baffled by the money question, because I think of people as if you're able to get your message out some way, then people will either like your message or they won't like your message. But I guess it takes money to get the message out to some people who are really in a hole or something, I guess.
Right. And that Ilhan Omar, there's like websites that give you stats. She's got like something like $3 million coming in from donations.
Yeah, because she's on the big stage.
And it breaks down the companies and such that are paying the money.
Mm-hmm.
But, when you got that kind of juice, she doesn't have to do a full-time job,
Yeah, that's a fact, man.
She just got to give speeches, write articles.
Yeah.
So,
nice.
We need people that are going to do that, but for the other side.
True. I'm with you on that. But
so it's not about the message and believing in the message.
Right.
Like maybe some callers are like, "Oh, we gotta save the babies," and no, you got to put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
And you got to give these donations to these people, and that's hard.
Yeah, for sure.
I get it.
Well, thank you, Jaime in Minnesota, for the education. That's mind-numbing. I hate that. I hate knowing about that. Yeah. Take care, man. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, man. Okay. Guys, I got to end. Lawrence in Idaho, I cannot get to you, man. I apologize. It's Joel Friday TV coming up next. This Town Will Eat You. This is the track by 238 Tuesday. Adios, America. I got to end on time. Bye. Hurts me not to be able to get to Lawrence. But I like 238. And I have to share this track with you. say that Joe's a liar. I'm a veteran. He's dishonest.
When you surround yourself with lunatics and crack addicts,
I got Bill looking at me.
and when you find yourself falling down on the inside, I will not be surprised, but I will fake it. If you can't shake it, can't kick it, I will not be surprised, but I will fake it. If you can't shake it, can't kick it.
Isn't it kind of nice? Regulate the chemicals from the year 2000. Is this emo? 238. Where's my Facebook crew? Nobody said hi on Facebook. Yeah, he does sound like Rivers Cuomo, huh?
If I spot you across a dirty diner, I'll be waving, and I will miss the days we sat together, misbehaving, acting stupid. Someday when things are slow, we'll get together. We'll burn this city down again. Someday when things are slow, we'll get together. We'll burn this city down again.
Don't do it, there is hope. Don't jump, no, says Benny. Joel Friday coming up next, guys. And then Anchor, baby. I'll have to get to the rest of your coffees tomorrow, guys. I see them. For once, 07, salute. I think I ended this on, I think I scheduled this on time, because I know it's over 5 minutes. It's a long song. I kind of cheated my last caller. Well, thank you, Hassan. Adios, America. Joel Friday next. Bye.